Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly podcast, which we are talking about prosperity. And today we wanted to talk about inside out of leadership transform. No?
Right. So pretty much instead of walking into your day and fighting the fires of whatever the day brings, we want to kind of transform that to where you are in charge of you're creating the day, you're creating your life, you're creating your trailblazing instead of firefighting. And that is really kind of what this purpose is today. We're going to talk about our inner journeys, how our inner transformation manifests in our outward transformation as well, which is a little weird to say, but kind of fun.
Exactly. And the first thing that we wanted to talk about really is about self-mastery. When we are in this path of the prosperity, that for us as a real estate agent and real estate business, the first thing that is super important for us is really control over our thoughts and emotion during the day, because we are in 2/3 of the day, which is the daylight. We are basically working on our conscious mind. That's why we need the control over to keep it positive. No?
Well, I think that's really philosophical and really true.
It's
But
true.
let's just break it down. Most people will spend 7 minutes every hour actually working. That's means that when you're working with someone else, you're actually really only giving them 7 minutes of your day instead of 53 minutes. Now, when you work for yourself, like us as real estate agents, we have to kind of transcend that natural inclination of I'm only going to work a little and really focus every hour of the day on our goals and intention. So we're going to talk about really goals and intention again, but it really goes back to if you have a true goal and a true intention, and a true plan of action, no matter what the daily fires are that you have to take care of or the things, you will rise above that. You will transform because you are focused on the big picture. You are not solving the wrong problems. You're solving the right problems. You're looking to try to change yourself. And by changing yourself, you grow as a real estate agent. Now, before we get into really purpose, I think we should do our introduction.
Exactly.
All right, so let's hit it. Hi, it's Alan Victoria. Welcome to Agent Wolves.
And if this is your first time, we'll love you to join us as an Agent Wolf, part of the XP Realty, part of the Wolf Pack.
Go to agentwolves.com, plural, and then join and schedule a time to talk to us. We'd love to talk to you. Now, let's focus back on our definition of purpose. What is definition of purpose?
Well, before we wanted to go there, I was looking at the first self-mastery, no? Basically, me and my wife were listening to this book, 7 Characters of Successful People.
7 Habits of Success.
7 Habits. And one of the first things that he was talking about in chapter 1 was the proactiveness.
Yes, he was.
And then part of this self-mastery that my wife said, 7 minutes of 1 hour, which is 60 minutes, we are really focusing on the goal, and the rest we are not. Therefore, what is the practical to this? First, we can do meditation, we can do journaling, and according to the book of 7 Habits of Successful People, you need to be proactive. Means whatever in front of you is that need to be taken care of, you need to take care of. I know that you need to take care of the whole picture, but what is in front of you is the most important things. For example, as a real estate agent, if your goal is lead generation, focus on your lead generation right now before doing anything else.
That's true. But it also means if you can take control of instead of every hour, you have 7 minutes of actual work, and you can take control and make that a half an hour, 45 minutes for really focus in on whatever it is that your intention is to do, you will get it done faster and you will have more accomplished than most people who only do 7 minutes every hour. So you want to make sure that you're not stuck in let me check the internet, let me check my phone, let me do all these other things like distractions, let me check social media. Instead of checking all these things, we can really focus in on that one thing that we are intending to do that with our whole heart and our whole mind and our whole soul.
Exactly.
And how do you get there? By mastering yourself, which brings us to the next topic.
The second topics we wanted to talk is definiteness of the purpose. For example, I talk about myself many times in my life. I said, I want these things, but I never in some occasion had this definite of the purpose, what exactly I wanted to bring this to this physical or material world. No,
Right. And everybody can do this. Everybody can dream, I want $1 million, right? We can all dream it. But just dreaming, I want $1 million, and even just picturing in your mind, like what you're going to do with $1 million of drinking on the beach all day and doing nothing. If that's your dream, we can all have that dream, but that's not desire. Desire is a little bit more than just that random dream.
What is the desire?
Desire is a definiteness of purpose.
Definiteness of
What is
purpose.
it you're really going to go outside and do every single day? And it is not drinking on the beach all day long, every second of every day, because you'd be pretty bored pretty fast. Maybe that'll be fun for a day, a week, but you're gonna get bored with that quick.
Yes, therefore, burning desire is really what is your heart has that intention, and you need to set a goal which is definite of the purpose to achieve that goal. No,
And I have to just throw in us for a second, because we were like, oh, maybe we should start a business. But it wasn't until COVID kind of kicked us in the butt and said, hey, you're now stuck at home all the time. What are you guys going to do? And now he's not following his path. I'm not following my path. We were literally sitting in the same room together at the same time. So we're not just going on separate days and coming back at the end of the day, like many married couples. We were like, okay, we're home now. What are we going to do together? Exactly. And so starting a business was a new idea for both of us, a little scary, but ultimately great.
Exactly. Now, the practical application is really to be honest with yourself and write down your goal statement right now when you're watching this, or you have the time right now to write it down. No?
And I just want to kind of break it down a little bit more practically. Absolutely, that's a good goal to do. But before we get to that goal, and I think you should do that, what my husband just said, 100%. But I want to make sure that we kind of walk through our day. What happens to many people in their day, even especially business owners, is we come to, we get up in the morning, we've thought about something we want to do, we get to the job, we say, okay, I'm going to sit down. Even if you work at home, you're going to sit at your computer, and then suddenly, boom, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and this is happening all at the same time. So you have 4 little fires that now need all of your attention. And now you focus on those 4 fires, but maybe that 5th fire, like lead generation, was put to the back burner because you were 1, 2, 3, and 4ing all the other important things, but you weren't focused on that main goal. So what happens eventually if you let your day work like that is you don't have leads to put out any fires with. So you have to make sure that you are putting lead generation. That's just one thing. How are you getting your clients as a real estate agent? Every business has its own perks, but you have to continually saying, how am I going to help other people, and do that effort every single day. I just want to add that. And then, of course, once you're writing down your mission statement, your goal, your values, all super important. I just want to bring it as a practical of, instead of just you have to take care of the fires, but you also have to take care of whatever the higher goal is, because the more you focus on the higher goal, the more likely you achieve the higher goal.
Exactly. Therefore, the first step really is focus on your mission statement. Even you think you're doing the right things right now, but we wanted to have these steps in front of us before we move forward. The second thing I wanted to talk after that, the next thing, is the faith in the self-mastery.
Right.
What is the faith?
Well, faith is basically your confident belief in your own abilities and the attainment of your goals. And it's going to having a positive mindset and overcoming self-doubt. And honestly, this is my biggest issue. My husband has different issues than me. This is mine, to where I sometimes I want to help others, but I don't always see how I help others. And therefore I will overhelp or underhelp. And I don't see it always coming back to me. And of course, everything always comes back to me. Everything is good. I attract lots of abundance, and I'm very grateful for that. But fighting my own positive mindset and saying, oh, this happened, like crazy thoughts, like, oh, we went on vacation, I didn't do these things, I have failed my business, therefore I can no longer do these things. But that's all nonsense that my brain will sometimes come up with. And I have to kind of take that nonsense and say, nope, that's just nonsense that you're kind of filling your brain, and instead say, I attract clients. This is not a problem. I'm allowed to take a day off. Everything is great because my business is growing.
Exactly. What I wanted to add really here from my experience in the life is about the faith. We are not talking about religion. No, whatever belief you have is for you. But what we wanted to talk about, the internal, what is inside of us that we wanted to talk about. The face is really a positive belief and mindset in your ability that when you wake up 2/3 of the day, you're working on your consciousness. And what happens to most of us, including me, for example, during the day, something happens, something that is not welcoming, is not good feeling. And you, instead of being proactive, you will start reacting to it. No? Then when you start reacting to something, what happens? All of your positivity, all of that, your mindset that you built basically goes to the negative side instead of focusing on the positive. That's why we need that face. We need that self-mastery. We need that positive mindset and positive affirmation during the day that when something happens, I just say, I know that's happened. That is external, but inside of me, I believe firmly that I am successful at this moment.
I mean, okay, so I want to add a little bit to this for me,
Yeah.
because that's your journey. My journey is, everybody is different, right?
Yes.
So I know my husband has a more like physical. For me, it's more of an emotional reaction. So if something happens that I don't like, typically it's not because some client did something, it's because something else happened. And now I am more emotionally upset about it. And I'm going to react in an emotional way. And it's not never about clients. It's usually about something I did. So I will go into blaming myself and blaming others near me. And it is very, really negative. And so when I switched it to positive, and I try to always stay positive, and I always try to kind of focus on that, I will change it to things like, I attract money. I attract clients if they fired me. I always attract plenty of clients. I'm not worried about this one. That one wasn't meant to be. God's going to give me a better one. I know I said God, but faith, there's more to it than just me. So I have to believe that there's a bigger purpose in what is happening than just me. So therefore, I'm going to say there is a process, and I have to kind of focus on, I am a part of the picture, and this is the bigger picture than this. And I am attracting everything that I need and everything I want and everything I desire in a very positive way. So I go from, things happen, I get triggered like human beings do. We're not perfect. And then I try to focus on, these are the goals, these are the plans, these are where I am blessed. And I am very grateful for being blessed in these ways. So yes, I brought in God.
Exactly. And then from quantum point of view, and Turing
your physics, yes.
Physics, basically they say that energy could be translated in particle and wave. No? Therefore, this inherent nature of the energy at the same time can be either particle or wave, but depends on the point of the reference is, which is you or me. When you're looking at the definite, which is going to be positive or negative, whatever point that you're looking, that's going to be manifesting. Therefore, if you're looking at the wave kind of like point, you're going to see the wave. If you're looking at to being a particle, you're going to see the particle. But this thing is always together. They're working together, no?
So in my visual of what you're saying, because again, not your science, I'm not science, but basically in my head, I'm picturing I'm in the ocean. Am I going to ride the waves on top of the waves and have fun while riding the waves? Or am I going to get pulled under the waves because, things are coming at me. The waves are continuing to come. East Coast girl, not a West Coast girl, not the Pacific. So the waves are hitting me. And now is it going to tug me under? Or am I going to have fun jumping, continually having fun going over the waves? Does that kind of go with what you're saying? That was the visual I got.
Or like a parallel universe. Each of us has in the different parallel universe, means when you're looking at the positive side, you're always that successful person. If you're looking at the other side, you might be stuck in your physicality of what you're dealing right now with.
So I'm imagining from what he just said, I'm trying to take it again in my imagination. And so I'm basically saying, okay, I should focus on the better version of me, because there's the perfect version of me, the better version of me, and kind of focus on that version of me rather than this other version of me that, is still sitting.
They're both existing.
The 20-year-old me that was sitting at home saying, what do I do with my life after I graduated college and said I have nothing and I hated it. So am I that girl again, or am I the perfect version of myself in the future? So, and which one do I want to kind of go towards? Am I still that person from the past, or am I somebody better in my future? And so I think that's kind of what I was getting in my head from that point you said.
Well, one of the secret to me is like, it's not really a future, it's a present moment.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because when we saying affirmation or face, is not that I will gain that success and I'm hoping to get that, but we're gonna say it a present moment. I am successful.
Or therefore, we say I am working towards being that person, the good positive
therefore,
future.
Talking about the present tense,
okay,
not about the future or hope.
Okay.
And the next thing that we wanted to talk about is autosuggestion.
Autosuggestion.
Therefore, autosuggestion influencing our subconscious mind. No.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, what we are feeding during the day, again, that 2/3 of the day, which is 16 hours, is going to come with us and transfer to our subconscious computer, which is the universal computer. And that's what we wanted to have, inject the positivity and positive visualization for the goal that we wanted to have in our life.
Okay, so I'm just trying to bring this practical. So when somebody says something like, well, this is just the way I am, like this is how I am, this is how you're going to take it, that's very, very reactive and not allowing the power of autosuggestion to change our habits. So maybe it's true that I've never desired a super fast car. Never in my life desired some sort of fancy luxury car. I have desires for different things. Desire for a yacht, but I don't really have desire for this Ferrari that you want. However,
like for the guys.
Right, for a guy. I don't have that one. I have different desires, right? But with the layer of trust and autosuggestion, I can say, okay, I can see myself in a luxury vehicle, and this luxury vehicle is going to be for me in this way, and kind of vision it in my mind because I have built a layer of autosuggestion by listening to you talking about cars. I'm just trying to bring it physical, right? It shapes my behavior and attitude and say, okay, I deserve a better car at the end of the day. I deserve the nicest car out there. And I'm just using a car as an example, but it's basically by building this auto-suggestion and consistently saying, I need these nice things, I can have these nice things because now I believe that I am worth it. So I built my vessel, that's how I can say.
Exactly. Therefore, what I wanted to add here, not only visualization, but what is important and brings it to manifestation is emotion that is coming and associated with your visualization.
Okay.
Therefore, your visualization is not something like an obsolete and there is no emotion and motion inside of it. Therefore, there was a history about the different even Olympic gold medalists that their coach basically wiring them with this all wires that goes to the different muscle of their body. It could be like a swimmers, no, like a fast swimmers. And the coach was telling them that to visualize that how you start from your start to finish, and you do basically all the competition. And they realized that even with their imagination and the emotion that they put in this visualization, all of the muscles that during the game was working exactly performing in the same. That meaning that our subconscious mind doesn't really realize that are you in the competition right now or you're preparing yourself with the competition is the same things. That's why when we put ourselves in our visualization, we already created that realm of that we wanted to create. We don't need to really be there, but emotion should be there that all of our body, all of our muscle, all of our brains cells feel it at the moment.
I want to add in a couple more things because I think there's a layer of trust that we haven't really discussed,
exactly.
Right? Yeah. So I want to say that when something happens between us, let's be very honest in this podcast, something happens between us, both of us get super defensive.
Exactly.
How dare you do this to me? Right? Why didn't you? This is for both of us. We're both very, very defensive. Now, the layer of trust comes from auto-suggestion saying, you know what? Maybe he didn't mean to trigger this childhood hurt of mine that happened to me. Like I was told as a child, I was told some, things that, children take in very seriously or very deeply. For me, it was like there's weakness in you and you have to be stronger to be weakness. So I'm always trying to show that in my strength, but instead of being weak. So when somebody says I didn't do something, I can get very, very defensive, right? Because it's hitting my inner hurt. Even though you didn't mean my inner child, because my inner child says, oh, that's a defense, so be defensive. Now, with auto-suggestion, a layer of trust, it's like, okay, these dishes have nothing to do with that past hurt of mine. I forgive what happened in my past, and I don't need to let that trigger, that auto-suggestion, auto-defensiveness that comes into me from hitting a trigger, really still be there as well. So there's a level of trust in myself and then in us and in our growth that childhood hurt is in the past and it's forgiven and it's okay as it is. So I think when you practice visualization, you have to, if you are being very defensive, you have to figure out why that defensive thing is happening. So you have to figure out, why are you being defensive? And then how can you fix that? Auto-suggestion, send love to yourself as a child. Also, picture in your mind your future. What are you intending to do? What are your goals? What are your milestones? So fix the past, forgive the past, love yourself, love your inner child, but also you have to feel that emotion with the success. So there's that as well. I just want to add that as well.
Yeah, that's true. That many of us that have that issues from our back, from our history.
We all have our bags.
And then we carried with them, but most of the time we just scratch the surface. No, we don't go deep. And when we go deep, we understand what is in the not superficial layer, but deeper.
And if you can go deeper, you can fix that. Change the past. So you can't change the past. That's happened. I was told that when I was a child. What I can do is forgive myself and say, you know what? You're not going to, you don't need to prove that. There's nothing to prove there. And the dishes conversation has really nothing to do with that childhood hurt at all. So just kind of say, that's the past. This is my present moment. And then I'm 100% more on board with saying, I deserve $1 million, as we talked about. I deserve the yacht. I deserve the fancy car. So you have to get encouraging yourself with these visualizations. And what are you going to do when you achieve your milestones? You're going to achieve your next milestone and your next milestone and your next milestone, because you're picturing in your mind what that success is.
Exactly.
And it's not just the car.
The next thing that we wanted to talk is about the life learning lessons, or accumulating your knowledge. Because all of us, if something doesn't happen, it needs to go to the root, That meaning that every person has his own diary, Like you need to go deep in yourself and see what is inside of you need to be changed. And from each person to person is different. And each of us is really working on our own issues, really. That's what self-mastery is about. Now we start this conversation and podcast about self-mastery. How you can be a self-master when you start working on yourself, when you understand what triggers you to be reactive in a situation that needs your proactivity to overcome that challenge that you are facing right now. And hopefully you share what is inside of you with others in attaining your goals.
Also with that, I mean, we have talked about self-mastery, and you should definitely take whatever classes that you need based on your self-mastery or whatever hurts you have in your past that you need to fix. But also, if you're with your goal in your life and your job, like as real estate agents, for instance, we should definitely be taking classes.
Exactly.
So we should stay focused on our goal of being the best real estate agents in our market that we can be. Being the biggest real estate agents that we can be in our market, seeing how that reacts in our thing. How are people coming to me in this way? So creating that path is not just creating our self-mastery path, but also creating a path for our job, our performance, whatever it is that we're trying to do. We want to make sure we're taking the classes, taking the courses, continually taking the courses, because even when you get to a high level and you're already the 7-figure realtor in your market, you still have mastery to do. You can still be better than that. So you should still continually be making yourself better, because if you don't make yourself better, somebody else is going to come along and they're going to be better because they did all the work.
Exactly. Therefore, here also, I wanted to mention about our eXp Realty as a real estate agent, that we have eXp University, where that you can find every week icon agent, those that they pass their cap and already hit the,
Their goal.
for example, their goals, at least they did 20 transactions after that, and it start being a first icon to diamond icon. That's going to help you to achieve that, your knowledge in the real estate.
And also, when you join the Wolf Path, you get all of our entire upline, which is amazing, which we love. So if you are in a real estate path, you can join us, you can be with us, and then you can also get all our entire upline and plus all those classes that my husband were talking about. Let's go back to imagination, though, for any business.
Power imagination.
Yes, I love it.
Therefore,
you can see I visualized a lot in my head as we were talking already.
Therefore, in the book of the 7 character of the successful people,
7 habits.
7 habits, this imagination, power of imagination actually is the unique things that we as a human being having respect to vegetables, animal realms, or the other things that is around us. No, that's why God or that higher consciousness, universal energy gifted us with this power of imagination, and we really need to use it, no, to in our favor, to create whatever we have, the heart-burning desire that we have.
Which is interesting because I feel like in our relationship, you always tell me to write things down so I can imagine it, yet I always immediately imagine. You see, you're talking about physics, and I'm starting to imagine I'm creating a visual in my head of what we're doing right now. I love imagining everything. I imagine my entire life all the time. I could literally sit there and close my eyes and all day just imagine my future. So it's something that is a little power of mine. I love brainstorming. I love coming up with, if this happened, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. I love it. If your goal is to also want to go deeper than this too. Don't just go surface level with imagination. If somebody says, well, I want to have a better life for my family. That's many real estate agents, many people in life, why they want to start their business, why they want to grow their business. Oh, I want a better life for me and my family. Well, what does that mean? Go deeper with your imagination. Don't just surface level this. Go super deeper. Say, well, how do you imagine your family? How do you imagine the life with your family? How is your family going to be more successful because you did these things? What are you giving to them? What are you achieving for them? How do you imagine your life once you have achieved them? So go deep with it. Not just, I want a better life for me and my family. What is that life? And if you can imagine what that life is, you are really working with your imagination.
Therefore, basically, you're brainstorming more and then cultivating to simulate these creative ideas that how you can add the elements to make it more complete.
Right. But
the model in your thoughts.
Model. Yes, I guess you could say I'm creating the model in my brain. But if you can really go deep and not just surface level this imagination, you can really, really go deep. So if your imagination is this is what I want for my family, this is how many trips, this is where we're going to sit, this is where we're going to be, this is what I'm going to do for them, this is the school they're going to go to, this is the college they're going to go to. If you can imagine all of these things, how you can give your children or yourself or your spouse, whatever it is that you imagine you want to give, you are doing better. So exactly. We're going to ignore the call and keep going. So
the next thing that we wanted to talk about is really planning and decision making. No?
And that's you. This is your strength. Imagination might be mine.
Basically setting a clear goal for yourself, because as my wife said, most of us from each 60 minutes of our life, really we use it 7 minutes of it proactively, and the 53 minutes probably is waste. And that's what we need to basically plan our day, make the decision, and what is in front of us is super important. For me as a real estate agent is a lead generation.
Now, also want to point out that when you're having fire, like you sat down with your computer, you went to your office, you sat down, and now all these things are happening, and you have to handle all of these things as well as that extra purpose that brings you to your higher goal. You have to also remember another factor of you have to be a CEO or the manager of your business. The business owner has to be 30 feet above the forest in order to actually get to the other side. So you have to have the map in place for where the business is going. So that map is very, very key. So you have to go back to your map and go back to your big purpose, big mission as many times as you can, because that brings it back to making a decision. So instead of just fighting this one fire and spending 30 hours in this one fire and then not spending time on the actual more important thing for other people, then that's going to be a bigger issue too. So you want to make sure that you are focusing on the goals that you need.
Yes. Therefore, my wife, when we had discussion before recording this podcast, she was talking about two views, which was horizontal view and
And I
vertical
was.
view. When she said 30 feet above what you are imagining and planning, and you're looking at your business, we are talking about transforming our horizontal view really to the vertical view,
I did.
no? Which is add the depths into it, not because horizontal doesn't have the depth. You just see the distance, but when you go 30 feet above, you add the depth into it. That
Well,
gives
just think
you
about it. As real estate, I'll give you a real estate example, but it can be for any business. With real estate, right? We get to think a new client wants to see a house right now, right? So they want to go see this house right now. So you have to drop whatever you're doing because this client has money, right? So you pre-approved, they're already pre-approved. Maybe they have money. So you want to go help them. Now you're going to drop your lead generation. You're going to drop calls you're going to make because you have to now go help this one person. And let's just say it's successful. You spent a day with them. They picked their house. Now they're good to go. But you also dropped the ball on your bigger goal. So you were so busy focusing on, go through to get the deal that you weren't focused on the vertical, which is I still have to do these other things. And I get it. We get tired. We get like, oh, it's 7:00 at night. I'm a morning person. So when you get me 7:00 at night and say you have to do a YouTube video, to be honest, that is getting my energy up at that point is much harder. But in the morning, if you told me at 6:00 in the morning, let's go film a YouTube video, I'd be like, I'm tired, but let's do it. Whereas at night, I'm going to be a little harder because I have to kind of get myself back into vertical thinking, not I'm tired thinking. So getting that energy of, well, this is the big purpose. This is the big goal. This is really kind of bringing it back for me to make sure that we always focus on the bigger picture, not just the driving of the day. I might have driven 300 miles that day. I'm tired, but I still have to do my goals in order to get to that bigger future.
The next things that we wanted to talk about really is the mastery of the persistent. This is the place that many of us might have issue. Like we set the goal, we are not persistent. We hit the, dead end sometimes, and they say, "Oh, that's it. I cannot do anything about it." Which here we were talking about, despite of any challenges that come to our way externally, we need, and any setbacks, we need to continue persisting at what we want exactly. No? Do you want to add
I want to
anything?
add a lot here because if you do the internal battle will actually help with the external battle. I know that sounds crazy and probably philosophical, but I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to explain is if you really focus on self-mastery and you focus on your goal and how you envision yourself and how you are attracting clients, attracting money, whatever it is that your dreams and goals are, you are the magnet there. And so that magnet's not going to stop no matter what happens during your day. And if you can continually stay on that positive magnetic thing that you're trying to bring into your life, you are going to, and then you go deeper and say, well, what's stopping me? I told you one of my inner battles. If I can go deeper with that and say, you know what, that's the past is forgiven and I do not have to be defensive every single second and I can really get to that, then all the fires that I thought in my day were big fires become very small little things that I can easily handle, like filming video more often. So being persistent. And I think let's be honest, with our real estate channel, not this channel, with our real estate channel, I think one of the biggest things we did to build our persistence is our videos were terrible at the beginning. They truly were. But I think one of the better things we did was we said to ourselves, we're going to do this every single day. And we did it. So that builds persistence. So building a persistence with a physical goal and it helps you build how you're going to be with your internal goals too. So by being persistent, journal that persistence, document how you're going to overcome whatever's stopping you. And let's be honest, with those YouTube videos every single day, we got into some big fighting defensiveness all the time, but we continued to build it. And I think it built, why are we going deeper? Building the mountain and fighting our internal battles made those smaller details of us trying to, say we need to do other things became less important than us doing. And I think being persistent helps build that muscle.
This is why I wanted to add two things here that came to my mind. The first thing is really what is about the persistent is you keep yourself motivated every step of the way. As my wife said, is sometimes it's very challenging when you release everyday video, the long
Long
video,
form educational.
video, and also keep doing this no matter it's a holiday, not holiday, doing it all the time. And the second things, no, the first thing is still the faith that we were talking about. That is an auto-suggestion. That is how we can keep ourselves motivated. Why? Because when we are not injecting the faith and auto-suggestion, our mind, our conscious mind, which transfer to subconscious, it get negative. No, whatever happens during the day for your kids, for your family, for your business.
Well, this is when I think you have to go internal.
Exactly.
So when it's that starts happening, we go deeper and say, why is this happening internally? Why am I being defensive right now? Why am I being argumentative? Why did this negativity come to me? That way you can release the negativity and then stay focused on the positivity.
Yes.
So by being a self-master, we kind of transcend that.
Exactly. And then the second things that I wanted to talk about, the Dr. David Hawkins, that I started listening and reading her books about him, Power and Force, that he started in 1977 a study about kinesiology, which is a study of the muscle, and created about like a food and thoughts, how you can strengthen or weaken your muscle. And imagine if we have this motivation, this positive faith and auto-suggestion that we say is gonna strengthen us physically even. And then emotionally even is going to help us to keep us motivated. That's what I want to add to this part of our podcast here.
Okay. Next one we want to talk about is masterminds, right? So the power of the mastermind, which is a Napoleon Hill concept that I had never heard of, where you find like-minded people who also want to have mutual success, and you collect the wisdom and support. Now, if you're so defensive that you can't hear what your partners are saying, then you're not necessarily in a good place to have a mastermind.
Exactly.
So you have to work on yourself and work on your ways in order to do that. Now, once you are having these mastermind thoughts, and as business partners, we are, and husband and wife, we are already our own mastermind in many ways. But we've also started a bigger mastermind for real estate agents at Agent Wolf. So that's always kind of fun. We're trying to share our wisdom. So we're sharing our wisdom, sharing our support, not just with each other, though I think that brings some sort of success between the two of us, but by sharing with others, it even brings more.
Exactly.
So I would recommend if you're a real estate agent, join our mastermind class. Of course, if you are not a real estate agent, we can kind of, tell you to find masterminds that work for you. And I know that's the hardest thing to do, but it comes when you're ready. It really does. It will come when you're ready.
Exactly. The next thing or the last thing that we wanted to really talk about is about subconsciousness, subconscious mind, and also controlling negative influences. Therefore, we talk about this 2/3 of our day, which is 16 hours. We're working on conscious mind. We're feeding them with the different things, and hopefully with the faith and suggestion, which is all positivity. And hopefully when we hand it over this 8 hours or 1/3 of our day that we go to sleep, all this positivity transforms to this universal computer that can generate for us, even when we are sleeping, that positive motivation, achieving our goals and achieving our heart-burning desires.
And I want to kind of bring this a little bit more depth. So here's what I would say we're going to be more proactive doing. So let's talk about being proactive. Something happens that you do not like. It hits you emotionally, physically, mentally. It stops you in your tracks, and you want to scream. You want to shout. You want to maybe cry. You want to scream and shout. See, I told you I want to always be strong, not be thing, but cry. You want to react in some sort of way to what just happened. Something happened, boom, you have been affected by this happening. However you get normally affected. Instead, if you can really, really stop yourself in your tracks, kind of like the Matrix movie. Again, I'm a very visual person. Stop in your tracks. It's not bullets that are coming at you, but it kind of feels like bullets, even though it's an emotional thing that's happened. If you can stop in your tracks, and you might have to close your eyes. It's not just pause for a second and then just react the way you want to. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you can pause and really understand why this is coming at you, where they're coming from, what is their goal? What is your goal? Will this affect you in some way or the other? And if you can really, really take yourself out of the situation, imagine what is, and kind of create in your mind why this is really happening. Why is this in my movie of my life right now in this second? And then really kind of introspect because you want to understand what is going on. Why did you react that way? Go deeper. Why did he say that to me? What does he mean by that? Where does that come from? Go deeper. And then really, if you can internalize that war and then react in a positive way, like, I know this is something we're not perfect at this, but we're working on it. So when we can understand that our soul says this is what's really happening and what our soul truly wants, and not just to be defensive or to be reactive, to be completely into what our soul wants and desires and what his soul wants and desires. And therefore, whatever that trigger was isn't going to matter as much. And if I can shift my consciousness on the inside, then boom, I can still be happy, not react to the emotion. Because let's be honest, if a stranger tells you something, it's very different. Like, it's like a troll on the internet will tell me one thing, but the troll on the internet doesn't matter. What matters is how I react to the troll on the internet, or I don't react at all because they're just a troll. But when it's a physical reaction from you and said something and I get all defensive, I need to stop, say, why is this in my movie? I can't just brush that off as some sort of random person that doesn't matter. I have to say, why is this happening? Really, really internalize and figure out what I want. What is his goal? What is my goal? What do we truly want? And get rid of all the noise and really listen to my soul that's whispering to me. Then we're in a better place. And that is what we have to do anytime something is coming at us that we don't like.
Yeah, it's beautiful. No?
Oh, thank you.
No, it is. Like, most of us get reactive right away. But when we're talking about the vertical kind of format, we're going 30 feet above. Or my wife always talk about the Matrix movie, when he can see the bullet is coming in a slow motion and he can just, escape from getting hit by the bullet. No? Which is true. And as my wife also mentioned earlier in the podcast, when we start doing our job in the internal battle, then in external, everything is going to be settled.
Right. So with this, if I've had trouble with this, because we all do, really working on meditating, really understanding where your subconscious thoughts come from. I would even say write it down what your subconscious thoughts are, and then write the positive side of those negative subconscious thought. Flip it to a proactive, if you can, in your journal. Really, really understand where it's coming from. Go deep to whatever your wounds are. Really, really try to figure out those challenges, because if you can figure out the deeper challenges, you can 100%. The outside world doesn't matter as much, because it's happening. So you can fix whatever, you're going to attract more money, more success, more whatever it is that you're desiring, because you fix the internal. So if you can fix the soul, the external world will match the soul that you bring to it.
And the last things that I wanted to add, really, that is, I think, underappreciated, is appreciation.
Yeah.
I just wanted to end this podcast from my side, not from my wife's side, with the appreciation of our potential, who we are, where we came from this vast energy, field of energy, that you can call it God, I don't know, supernal world, whatever you think is the best for you and for your thought. And also appreciating the situation that every day happens to us is not for blaming or beating us or not performing what we came here, but as a stepping stone to help us to get motivated, to overcome our inner battle. That's what we are trying to do here. It's all prosperity is about inner battle. And then you get to the place that you feel confident and get motivated, and be always positive mindset in any situation, that the situation is going to get better.
The only thing I'm going to add is, if something happens and you fail at it, I would recommend, if you fail at whatever your mission was of the day and you completely blamed yourself, because if you blame yourself so much, you just kind of go back into another negative reaction because you're blaming yourself, blaming yourself, blaming yourself. That's negative in a different way. That's a negative subconscious instead of a positive subconscious. So if you're blaming yourself all the time, you're not in a positive state of mind either. So I would say, understand what happened, understand what the problem was, forgive yourself and say, you know what? Maybe I wasn't perfect today, but I really didn't try to be perfect. I'm going to do better tomorrow. So I would always say, end your day by saying with positivity, like, oh, well, I messed it up a little bit. So what? So what? Let it go. Don't beat yourself up over, stick with it. Focus on the positive and stay positive, because we can always do better. That's what life is for. We're here to practice to be better. Nobody is good the first time, which we did the earlier one on failing.
Yes. And I hope you enjoyed our podcast. We love to connect with you at agentwolves.com.
Absolutely.
Plural, and be part of the bigger pictures of the Wolfpack in EXP reality.
Absolutely. Can't wait to talk to you.
And see you in next podcast.
45 minutes. Good.